All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays, coming to you live this Saturday, November 28th. November is almost over. The week is almost over. And of course, I screwed up my volume, which is fine. This is like normal for me.
Vays, coming to you live.
Okay. Oh, I messed that up twice. Let's take a look at the price. I guess I'll do a little bit of a Q&A. Usually I like to take the weekends off, but the price is moving. And the big question in everyone's mind is, have we bottomed? Is the pullback over or is it not? And of course, I'm going to cop out on the answer by saying, I don't know. But we're going to go take a look at the charts and see what they say. We're going to save the political discussion for the end. So those that want to stick around for that, feel free to stick around. Okay, hey, I do want to say that thank you to everyone that took advantage of the big sale this week for the momentum reversal indicator. You can read a little more about it here, and make sure you do read all of this before you decide to purchase it. There we have a little bit of a Q&A right there. I gotta update the testimonials. They are old and they're from all of my services. The drop in price has certainly been a huge motivator for people. Make sure you get the email. Make sure a confirmation email with videos and all the other good stuff shows up. I'm trying to keep an eye on everything, but just make sure that it does, and if it doesn't, find a way to reach out to me to make sure that it did. Same thing for the on-demand videos. Thank you to those that are purchasing them. I strongly recommend getting the combination of this and this. It's only $150 more, but it is totally worth it. I see people buying like this or that sometimes, and I'm like, oh God, I really wish you buy both. That's why the price is that's why it's such a small difference in price. To get them both, because I think they're both really necessary. Okay, that's it for the sales pitch. Let's go to the charts. We have 350 people watching. I closed the hyperwave chart since it is no longer relevant. We don't need to follow up with that. I can't wait till the month comes to an end. Here is a very clean look at the monthly chart. We are on an MRI warning, which means next month is an MRI top. And I don't know what that actually would mean because it's possible that the pullback has already ended. And does that mean we break out next month to say 30,000 and then still pull back at the end of the month significantly from 30 to 40? And does that mean the MRI is still something to pay attention to? When it comes to the MRI and these monthly charts, you really gotta just keep it in the back of your mind, but it's very difficult to time any trades because of such a large scale. The weekly MRI is a lot better as far as timing goes. This is still a very cautious candle, and even though we have rallied into the end of week very, very nicely, we still have over 24 hours to go before the week ends, and it's very possible we could be lower. So it's impossible to say how this week is going to end. But those of you that used proper TA or even fundamental analysis, Willy Woo was using fundamental analysis to get out of the market this week, or I think as a Friday like myself. However, even in his fundamental analysis, he mentioned, well, the older version of the MRI as being something even he was paying attention to. I'll try to get Willie on again soon to get his take on things. So the weekly chart is still in the process of a 1 to 4 candle correction. Is this correction already over? Impossible to say. So we're going to wait and see. Right now, the weekly chart is not helpful in my trading. The weekly chart helped me get out of the market at the end of last week and this week. However, going into next week, the weekly chart is not going to be helpful. I will need an entire candle of next week in order to reevaluate the weekly chart from the MRI standpoint. The daily chart at the moment is also in an absolute no trade zone. I was looking for a slightly deeper correction into the $14,000 range, which means lower than 15,000. We did not get there. It appears that so far we bottomed at just above 6,000. Now, because we bottomed at just above 6,000, creating a point in the middle of nowhere to reverse the price, I will wait until we break this pink line to be bullish in the current rally. I may drop that line a little bit if I look at the lower level time frames, but at the moment, I am not yet buying this dip. I would rather buy the breakout than buy the dip. I don't want to buy it now and then watch it go to 15. I would rather buy above the purple line and watch it go to 30, because that's what I think is most likely to happen the next time we break 20,000. And breaking 19,000 at this point is almost the equivalent of breaking 20,000 because they are so close. The momentum that we will have if we break 19,000 next week is enough to push us into new all-time high. But I am not yet buying this dip. That's my trading style. Those that have their trading style could have already bought the dip, okay? I don't want anyone trading like I'm trading. I trade based on my knowledge and my risk assessment, and everyone else is different. Besides, I can't even buy the dip if I wanted to because I trade in GBTC. Otherwise, I'm all about the HODL. And because of that, I'm not going to buy this area. I will, and I can't even if I wanted to. I'll wait to see what happens on Monday. All right, so I've had this question before. Tone, how long do you think we have to get out of the US before tyranny begins? We're going to save that discussion for the political chat a little bit after the price analysis. But the answer will depend on who your president is come January. The timeline changes a little. Well, I've been bullish since March 13th, but on short-term basis, I've been less bullish and sometimes versus others. And at the moment, it's one of those times where I'm short-term, not bullish. I'm not really that bearish anymore. I was certainly bearish a few days ago. I'm not that bearish anymore, but I'm not bullish yet. Even on the short term, I'll wait for the breakout or a deeper pullback, because I don't think this pullback has been sufficient enough to create a safe FOMO environment. This was only a 16% correction, and I was looking for something closer to 30 peak to peak and something closer to 20 within the bodies of the candles. And we only had a 16.5 peak to peak and only 12, less than that, only 11 in terms of candle bodies. So I need this to be a little bit deeper. If you look back at, I'm going to use the weekly chart here. If we look back at 2017, look at how many corrections we had that were, like even if we go back to 2016, even throughout 2016, you know, here's 40 on peak to peak and only 13 within candle bodies, but that's his weekly bodies. If you use dailies, I should be using dailies. On dailies, it would be a lot higher. So let's stick to the peaks. So as far as peaks are concerned, I want to see 30% correction peak to peak and 20% correction in daily candle bodies. And we had, and if we go back to, well, this wasn't even 2016. This is going back 2015. But let's stick to 2016. Here is one that was 38. Here's the next one. That was only 25. So a little bit short of 30 peak to, oh wait, I'm sorry. That's the peak. That's 35. That certainly covers it. This one was more than 30, 33. So that's already 3 in 2 in 2016, 1 already in 2017. Here's a second in 2017, clearly above 30%, 37. That's 2. Let's go higher. That's 3. And the MRI called some of these beautifully. That one, it called it on a weekly. This one, it called on a daily. I remember that. And weekly came a little bit late, but the daily called it perfectly. So that's already 3 in 2017. And that's 4 in 2017. This one also went 30% peak to peak. So there you go. So we had 4 of these in 2017 on the run up. Now, the run up in 2019 didn't have any. It didn't have any. Half a year, it didn't have a single correction of 30% peak to peak. Okay. And that's probably why we had such a catastrophe then after. And this was a mini bear market. We had a mini bull market, mini bear market. But now we're in a structurally proper bull market. However, we still need those 30% corrections. And we haven't had any. 22 was the biggest one, 21. We had 21. And that's about all she wrote. This one was 16. And this one is maybe 16. So we're way short. And it's been a year. It's been almost a year. It's been March until December, and we haven't had any. And again, going back to 2017, we had our first one in March, and we had 4 that year. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 that year, and then we topped within the same year. And then, so technically there were 5. This one was also there. So, so I guess you can call that one as well. And that was over 30%. That was 40. So there you go. That was the last one. And we did rebound nicely off of it, but then it was the bear market. You need them. You need them to keep going higher. Otherwise, it ends badly. All right. All the other markets are closed. Oh, short term. I have to look at short term. Here's the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart looks bullish. I was pretty bearish during this double bottom. And I would have been, and here's a double top, and we broke the double top. So by breaking this double top, it created a breakout opportunity right there. How high would it go? At the moment, I think this is your resistance. I think that is resistance. And we're close. And we're close. I think it's going to be hard to break 18,000. I think we're going to turn tomorrow and go back down. I'm still leaning a little bearish here and the pullback to be a little bit deeper. But I'm not shorting. And I'll go long if we break. If it looks like we're breaking 19K, I'm happy to go long. Here's the hourly chart, same thing. I think resistance comes in here. Whatever that's soon. Wow, that's close. That's close. And look at that, hourly top last hour. This could have been it. The rally could be over. The 4 hour still looks good, but the 1 hour is telling you not to be long right now. I'm still looking at gold to go down to 1750, and then we'll reevaluate. I would love to see this bottom in 3 days with the MRI bottom. If we are sitting below 1750 3 days from now, I may be going long gold. There could be a nice rally back to the all-time high. I mean, I'm still bullish the S&P. It looks pretty bullish, but let's see what happens on Monday because the election fraud situation is becoming very interesting. Trump has a chance to flip Pennsylvania back to him, which will create a giant domino effect, huge domino effect for him to retain presidency if he pulls it off. That's it, guys. Hey, don't forget, we have everything still on sale. I'm keeping the sale at least through the weekend. So go ahead. It's possible I may keep it through Christmas because I would probably going to put in a Christmas sale anyway. And it kind of feels like a dick move to raise prices now and then lower them again for Christmas. I don't know. I may hold on to these, but prices will go up. If not this year, 100% next year. So if we break 19 and go to 20, am I expecting a pullback at 20? No, I am not. We already had the pullback. It just wasn't as big of a pullback as I wanted, but we had the pullback. So I no longer see a pullback at 20. I never assume double top. So if we get back to this vicinity, I'm looking to be super long into 25 at least. So I'm not expecting a double top. I never do, ever. I always bet against the double top, especially on a daily time scale. All right. Any trading questions before we start talking election fraud and a little bit COVID? Hey, Tone, I took Tyler's Hyperwave seminar at your Unconfiscatable conference. Technically, the Bitcoin Hyperwave is still in play until we have a weekly close at all-time high. No, I don't believe that we do. I mean, maybe I have to reread the book, but Wave 7 doesn't begin at all-time high. Wave 7 begins at the end of Phase 6, and you can't have an upwards sloping Wave 7. So once we break the horizontal Wave 7, that begins at the close of Phase 6 ending, that's it. It's over. But they're usually so close to each other that it's almost the same all-time high. Tone, do you think institutional investors could result in smaller corrections this bull round compared to retail buys in 2017? Yes, that is possible. Those weeks of 30% on the bull run happened before the CME. The CME is not that relevant, guys. And when we basically could trade Bitcoin futures. Now the CME Bitcoin futures could be the dip smaller. No, they can't. The CME is not price discovery of Bitcoin. The CME is a follower. It's not a leader. So no, the first comment about institutional investors, it holds a lot more water than the CME argument. Can the CMI help you judge the size of the price drop? Some of the knowledge that was learned by me to build the CMI does have some tools to judge the sizes of the drop, but I don't like using it that way. So no, I prefer to use other technical analysis metrics to judge the size of the drop, and I only use the MRI. Sorry, I only use the MRI. I think I said CME earlier. I only use the MRI for time purposes, not price purposes. All right. So let's talk a little COVID first. Okay, hey, I was saying this. It's still on sale. Please make sure you get the confirmation emails. Occasionally, things go wrong. Things end up in spam. So please make sure you get a confirmation email with all of your details on these things. If you are purchasing them, thank you all for that bought the MRI and other videos this weekend. This week, I didn't expect it. Like the sales have done very well. So thank you for that. Much appreciated. So if you guys are not following Tom Woods, you absolutely should. If you are dealing with people that are virtue shaming you for your views on COVID, try not to use too much force, but strap them down to a chair and make them watch Tom Woods' presentations on how many lives the lockdowns have killed. The lockdowns, not COVID. COVID is barely killing anyone right now, and there is some research that it barely killed anyone at any point. Lots of research there, but the lockdowns are actually killing people. So those that want to, those that really want to listen to some real science, not science meant to destroy your life and your freedom, just follow Tom Woods. He's got it all. And here's a good scientific research paper that said the following: there was no additional household risk for those over 70 in Stockholm associated with co-residing with children still in school during the pandemic. Lots of good research here. It's great. It's really, really good stuff. Probably your only go-to for COVID if you really need it, right here for legitimate analysis. I'm going to try to tweet out a few more videos, which I did. I did one right here. This isn't controversial. This is literally a video explaining the PCR test and how it works. So check that out. It's not like a conspiracy theory video. It literally explains how the test works. But a lot of people don't want to watch it because they don't want to know how it works. They just want to know how many people got a positive PCR test. And the odds of Trump winning on betting sites, this was 15 cents a minute ago, is rising. It's rising. Because, not here. Apparently, Pennsylvania has become an interesting case because unlike the bullshit you constantly see from the mainstream media, not all of Trump's fraud claims have been thrown out. And Pennsylvania is one of the ones where Trump can get the election results nullified, which would be interesting. I'm still waiting for the damn Senate race to complete. I have a bet that Republicans would win the Senate. And I kind of need one more freaking senator to get elected. And Georgia's got 2 of them. Freaking Georgia is holding up everything. I don't even know when that election is. I have no clue. It's like I'm Googling it and I still don't know. It's either next week or in January. I have absolutely no idea. And mempool is clean, so you can send very cheap transactions this weekend. All right, any other questions, guys? I'm not going to be very helpful today on Bitcoin price. I think the hourly is now breaking. So that's my resistance line like right now. But this is a weird time of week. Like Bitcoin likes to go up on Saturdays. You've heard me say this many, many times. Bitcoin likes to go up on Saturdays and down on Sundays. That's been my observation without any actual analysis. Like looking at the return of every single Saturday versus Sunday. But to me, and I've said this before, always feels like Bitcoin rises Saturday and falls Sunday. So I'm not rushing in to buy, and I can't because I trade GBTC. So I'll wait. But if we are pushing 19,000 next week, I would be getting that all-time high show ready because we're going higher. Somebody wanted me to look at DXY, which is the dollar. The dollar ain't doing too good, and the dollar isn't going to do good. Remember, I am now bearish the US dollar. I am bearish the US dollar. I made that clear. I am now more bullish the euro than I've been in a decade than the dollar. That's it. The dollar is actually kind of fucked. And I explained in the last video why the dollar is totally screwed. And the reason the dollar is screwed is not because they're printing money. It's nothing to do with printing money. The reason why the dollar is screwed is because of the loss of confidence by the world that the US had a fair election. And it doesn't matter who becomes president. The stigma of the US cheating in the election, whether they did or not, is, well, I do not. Okay, let me rephrase that. So I believe the Democrats cheated. Do I believe that there was a conspiracy for them to cheat? No. But I do believe that the Democrats, and that's generalizing, I believe certain districts cheated. I believe certain states cheated. And there was widespread election fraud. Now, it's not my job to prove it to you, okay? Because it can be my job to prove it to you. I could turn my life into proving election fraud for trolls on Twitter, but I choose to do something else with my time. So, wow, we have 1,000 viewers now. I'll review Bitcoin one more time because more people join. I'm very clear in my opinion that there was massive election fraud going on to get Biden elected. Now, that opinion isn't baseless. That opinion is based on facts that I have kept an eye on. Now, I'm not going to waste my time compiling all those facts for you, and it can still be debatable how factual those facts are because it's still in the court system. However, because there are many people like me, not only in the United States, but also around the world, the stigma of election fraud is all that is needed to crush the strength of the dollar. The dollar, I believe, is now in serious jeopardy of significant devaluation in favor of countries whose currencies are not embroiled in election fraud controversy. But it has to be a major country. So for example, if we look at, say, maybe the Swiss franc, for example, the Swiss franc should be doing really well. Let me see. I'm just guessing. That's the euro versus the franc. I kind of want to see the dollar versus the franc. But let me see the US dollar versus the euro. So the euro should be rallying. And once again, I'm not surprised. that the euro is rallying. Let me take this off. I'm not surprised that the euro is rallying. And that's because the US dollar is embroiled in election fraud controversy. Whether you believe there was or there wasn't is almost irrelevant when it comes to the strength of the dollar. But let's look at the Swiss franc. Dollar versus the franc. So let me see the euro versus the franc. Okay. So this is euro in Swiss francs. So 1.8 Swiss francs buys you 1 euro. So the euro has been strengthening against the Swiss franc. But let's look at the dollar versus Swiss franc. So see, the dollar is dropping. So it only costs 90 cents worth of Swiss franc, whatever cents equals in francs, to get you $1. And that's the best it's been for a while. So currencies that don't have election fraud controversy should strengthen versus currencies that are seen as your vote doesn't matter. Look, I don't really care who wins the election. Not for me personally. My life will not, my life is going to change regardless of who wins the presidency. Because I don't plan to be in the US much longer because of this, because of the election, because of the fraud, not because of who won. Like, it doesn't matter. Had Trump cheated, I would say the same shit. I want nothing to do with this country if they're going to, it's not even the cheating, it's how blatant it was. Yeah, we can look at the pound since I'm looking at currencies. So this is the British pound in US dollars. So the pound is, so it costs 1.35 US dollars for 1 pound. And I think it's going way higher. Again, I think the British pound would rise over the dollar. And that's big, again, going back to election fraud. Election fraud controversy is what's killing the dollar, not the printing of the dollar. It's the only thing that matters to your currency. The only thing that matters to your currency is confidence. Confidence of the people using the currency. That's all that matters. This is why shitcoiners just don't get it. They don't understand that the most important thing to your currency is the confidence of its users. That's it. Nothing else matters. Now, the confidence of its users is driven by the underlying technology of the cryptocurrency. But good luck with that, right? The confidence is what matters. That's why no shitcoin will ever take over Bitcoin. It's irrelevant what its technical aspects are. Yeah, the Germans are fighting back. The French are fighting back. I mean, the lockdowns, they're killing people. They're absolutely killing people. You know what's not killing people? COVID. But the lockdowns are. There's another study out there. It's actually hard to find. Jeffrey Tucker tweeted it out. He's been doing a lot of great work on COVID as well, by the way. I saw his presentation in June at PorcFest about COVID. Tom Woods was there too. It was great. If you can get Jeffrey Tucker's presentation from PorcFest, he basically explained, you know, how social distancing guideline came in. And I'm not surprised. It has to do with one of the worst US presidents in the last 100 years, George W. Bush, a Republican. Man, it's so hard for me to say who the worst president has been in my lifetime. It's Bush or Obama. It's really close. It's really close. I don't know. I mean, if there was an award for the worst president, I don't want to say 100 years, because some of the presidents that got us into Vietnam and kept us there deserve that prize as well. The Korean War wasn't great either, but Obama and Bush, they deserve that award. They really do. Clinton wasn't as bad compared to Bush and Obama, though Clinton was also pretty damn bad. They were all bad. It's the only reason why I like Trump. Man, watch. You want to see how Tone Vays loses 200 viewers right now and probably like a bunch of subs? I think Trump's been the best US president in my lifetime. And it's not even close. It is not even close. It's like 100 times better than any other president in my lifetime. Reagan wasn't too bad. So, back to Jeffrey Tucker. Man, I wonder how far I have to scroll back to find it. So he tweeted out this research paper, and immediately that paper was removed from the internet. And because it proved that no one is dying from COVID. And of course, it was immediately banned. Oh, so wait a minute. So Tucker's presentation, here it is. That's the paper. But Tucker's presentation was how these social distancing guidelines came into effect. And that's because some doctor's daughter, who was about 8 years old, did a project for her middle school or grade school on how to not catch cooties from other kids. And he liked her research as an 8-year-old on how to not catch cooties. And then she had a citation in his actual presentation that he presented to George W. Bush on how to not catch a virus, based on his 8-year-old daughter's presentation on how to not catch cooties as the main source of scientific knowledge. And Bush really liked the presentation, and now we have social distancing guidelines. Yeah, Jeffrey Tucker had a great presentation about this, about how it actually went into, Bush's plan for dealing with outbreaks. So this is the thing. And if you click on it, well, that's the picture, but the actual paper, hold on, let me see if I can find the paper. I need to tweet this out. I didn't get a chance to tweet it out yet. Man. See, this is why I don't tweet that often. I'm trying to find that paper. Crap. Here it is. That's the paper, but the site doesn't work. You have to go to the web archive. Like, they took this down. They took this down real fast. So the original tweet is gone because the original paper was removed from the internet. But thank God for web archive. And So check this out. And it's basically a paper saying that COVID didn't really cause any extra deaths. So check this out. Really, really good paper. God, the statistics to get people so insane are, well, like what was done to get people to comply with this bullshit is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm off to Florida. I can't deal with this shit anymore in any other state. The only normal state left in the country. I can't even leave the country because of this shit. All right, let's look at the price again. Are we still popping? We are. All right, so here's how I trade MRI. Right now, I would be kind of bullish on the hourly chart. This is my cue to get out, but this green star is my cue to get back in. But we went up quite a lot here, so I would be a little cautious. On the hourly chart, this is bullish, but we're sitting right at my resistance zone. This is where things like to reverse. If you look at my free learn trading section, you'll see a picture like this. Or is it? Yeah, this one. No, these are chart patterns. I had another picture. What happened to it? Is it not here? Oh, crap. There was another graphic that's in my presentation, but it's not this. There's another graphic with support and resistance. Oh, shit. It's not here. Oh, wow. Okay. I need to add one more graphic in. I don't have it here. Shit. Okay, I got to update this page. So let's go back to the price. So this is where things like to correct and turn, but it could be like a little bit higher as well. So like just this whole general vicinity. So I'm not in a rush. All we did was come back to the level of the breakdown. This is where, you know, shit kind of hit the fan a little bit. So this is where things tend to reverse. And if we reverse and we come back down to 16.5, I think the same thing is going to repeat, and we're going to fall another 1,500 down to 14, which is where I want to buy it. So if you zoom this out, you know, it's a classic situation where things usually, but not always, turn around. The daily chart is in the middle of nowhere. So like I said, the daily chart, I'm a bull closer to 19. And right now we haven't even broken 18. I try not to get into the conspiracy theory thing, but it's pretty obvious to me how rampant election fraud was this year. And it's also obvious to me how the handling of the COVID-19 virus is so dumb and so misguided that only costs more lives. And it's obvious. I'm not saying there is a conspiracy behind it all. I'm not saying there is, you know, 20 elites in a room that have an agenda. I'm not saying that. Just looking at how COVID is being handled is obvious that like the wrong people are in charge. Not that I want anyone in charge, but since there are people in charge, it's just like the worst people, the worst humans. If you are a leader that is in favor of any type of lockdowns, including masks, you have absolutely like no respect for human life. Masks should be optional. They should not be mandatory. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Cuomo should be in prison. He's not the only one. He's not the only governor that should be in prison. I think there were 5 governors that put COVID senior citizens into nursing homes. They all should be in prison. Shouldn't even be a trial. Just put them in prison. And I rarely say that. Yeah, I'm looking at your live chat, guys. Didn't Fauci just say that asymptomatic people rarely spread the virus? No, he didn't just say it. He said it before COVID many times because that is the proper scientific position. It's just that now he has a political agenda and now he says the opposite of what he said before, because before he was scientifically correct and now he's playing the politics game. I don't watch soccer, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but it's just not a sport I find very exciting. I'm a volleyball player. You want to catch my attention? Have volleyball be the sport involved. I used to be a volleyball player. Can't jump anymore. Too old. My favorite movie of all time, Usual Suspects. Am I going to watch the Tyson fight tonight? Maybe. Maybe. I used to be a huge boxing fan. Huge boxing fan. I don't really care about 2 50-year-olds fighting in a boxing ring. What's WVM? Yeah, I guess we can time them out. Am I bearish on gold? I'm not really anymore. I was bearish on gold. See, here's the thing. I've been bearish on gold since August. I've been bearish on gold since this MRI top right here. And there was a monthly one too. But I'm not that bearish on gold anymore because the bearishness on gold is ending. Gold has fallen 14%, which is a lot for gold. So I'm still a little bit bearish on gold, but not like I was in the last 3 to 4 months. So now I'm trying to buy the gold dip. So I'm still bearish, but not bearish enough to, short it. Yeah, MRI is still on sale. I may keep it on sale till Christmas because I don't want to like raise the price and then lower it again for Christmas. But it's still on sale. And if you're gonna purchase it, make sure you get the confirmation email within 24 hours and you have your access within 24 hours because I have to manage all these sales. And like I said, sales are doing great this week. Thank you guys. But things might slip through the cracks. So if you register and pay, and if you don't have everything within 24 hours, then definitely bother me somehow, like through the contact page or email or whatever. But so far, I think everyone's good. If Trump wins, and that's a big ass if Trump wins, I'm more comfortable staying in the US a little bit longer. But if Trump wins, there is a higher probability of an imminent civil war or massive civil unrest. Though I say we put all the communists in California and let it secede. I can live without the beach. Mexico is great for that. But if by some miracle Trump wins, there will be massive civil unrest. Like all of the violent left will be out in full force. Now, if Biden wins, I don't think there's going to be blood on the streets. I think the blood on the streets will only happen if Trump wins. And the blood is coming from, and the blood is going to be coming from the violent left. If Biden wins, I'm not expecting any like violent protests. Or I'm sorry, I'm not expecting any peaceful protests that end in violence if Biden wins. But I'm getting the fuck out real soon. And that's not a joke. That's not like people saying that if Trump wins, they're going to Canada. Like that didn't happen. I mean, like those people are never serious. But this time around is really, really different. Oh yeah, no. If Trump loses, and that's the thing, no one is actually going to Canada. When they were saying, "Oh, if Trump gets elected, I'm going to Canada," or if Bush gets elected, I'm going to Canada. If Biden gets elected, no one is going to Canada because Canada already has their Biden. So if Biden gets elected, those that want to get away are going to Mexico. The amount of U.S. citizens asking for a Mexican passport is going to go through the roof. I'll tell you where no Americans going. They're not going like remember, we're only talking about Americans that want to leave because Biden gets elected. So the Americans that want more capitalism and less socialism, they're not going to Canada. They're not going to Australia. They're not going to New Zealand. And they're mostly not going to Europe. They're not going to any of those places. Someone is saying, so there's no violent right. There's no organized violent right. There is violent everywhere, but there's no organized violent right the way there is organized violent left. Because the main difference between the violent right and the violent left is the violent left wants your shit. The violent right does not want your shit. That's the difference between capitalism and communism. Yeah, the right isn't very organized. Someone else is saying there's no organized right, period. Right. The right side of politics is not very organized at all. This is how Trump, who's not really a Republican, is able to get elected as the Republican president, because the right is not very organized. The left is organized to the point where if you have a super left candidate, like the Bernie Sanderses of the left, who are very popular with the people, there is election fraud in the primaries to make sure that the super left doesn't get elected because the people of the left want the super left elected. I mean, that's how organized the left is. Well, yeah, I could go live in a red state, but that red state better not be anywhere near California, because California is turning every red state around them into blue. It's like worse than the coronavirus. Though ironically, California itself is slowly becoming more red because all of their socialists are freaking leaving the disaster they created, and they've already taken over Colorado. They're almost done taking over Nevada, and they're almost done taking over Arizona, and now they have their sights on Texas. But as they take over those states like a virus, California just had the most Republican House representatives elected ever. So thank God they're leaving, but hopefully the remainder is on the right. Yeah, they took over Oregon a long time ago. No, Alaska's too cold. No, Alaska's way too cold. I don't like the cold. I'd move back to Florida permanently. It's an option. All right. Price of Bitcoin. Yeah, look, there's resistance line right here for a reason. I still think we're going lower. I'm not very confident in that statement, but I still think we're going lower. All right, guys, I want to enjoy the rest of my weekend. I know I have 1,000 people still watching. I don't see any great questions, unfortunately. Do I think the mandatory vaccine would be enforced in Russia? I actually don't know. I have not kept up with the Russian handling of the COVID disaster. Yeah, we did have a good news stream with Jimmy yesterday. Thank you. Well, it's because COVID should have never really been a problem. It was mostly bullshit. Mostly. I mean, was there a virus? Yes. Was it as dangerous and as deadly as they said it was? No. Did the lockdowns and masks change anything? No, they did not. It would have spread the same exact way. Yeah, I was in South Africa when the virus broke. I was on the last flight to the US. I might still be in South Africa. if I didn't get on that flight. No, guys, I don't need to live in a red state. I mean, I don't mind living in a state that's blue. The problem is what kind of laws that state has. Like Colorado is a blue state now, but I mean, they still have good gun laws until those are taken away. So I wouldn't live in the middle of nowhere. It's not my style. I mean, if it's not for COVID, I wouldn't even be in this country. I would be everywhere but America, which is how I've lived 2017, 18, and 19. I was outside of America 9 to 10 months a year. I'm only stuck here because of COVID. The problem is that America is so full of fat, unhealthy people. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny that. These comments are unreal. 260,000 deaths. No, 260,000 people did not die from COVID. Over 200 of those died with COVID, not from COVID. And you don't know the difference. Trump should have done more to prevent it. Like what? Put a police officer in front of every fucking door and not let anybody outside? Like, what did you want Trump to do? Like, I can't stand people that say the US should have had, like Trump should have been a bigger leader. First of all, no one is letting Trump to be a leader because the moment he tries to do something, he's called a dictator. And second, the United States, you forgot about the word states. The best thing about America is that states have power and states should have most of the power. So no, there is nothing Trump should have done at all. Trump should have said, let your state handle COVID the way your state wants to handle it. And if you don't like how your state's handling it, move to another state. This is the freedom of movement in the US, where you can choose what state you live in. When you force every state to do something, then it becomes a bit of a dictatorship. No, I don't think Trump did the best he could. The best thing Trump could have done is actually nothing. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. That would have been the best thing to do. The best thing to do was for Trump to say, we don't have a national policy on COVID. States can do it without, and then every time a state wanted to do something unconstitutional, Trump would say, you can't do that. So what Trump should have been doing is watching what the states do and making sure they don't infringe on US citizens' constitutional rights, which a forced mask actually does. And a shutdown of the economy actually does. So no governor should say, you can't open your business for the next 3 months. And Trump can say, no, that's actually unconstitutional, and you can't do that. And I'm going to push that issue right into the Supreme Court. Thailand and Costa Rica are very viable options for future living. Trump should absolutely pardon Snowden. Should have done it on his first day on the job, not his last day on the job. Yes, I have heard of the Great Reset. Next question. Losing followers by the minute, probably. Well, many people think the lockdowns are good because many people get what's the word I'm looking for here? Many people thrive on other people's misery. So there is a significant large portion of the population that love the lockdowns because their fuel, their reason for existence is the misery of other people. Chances of all-time high this year. Ooh, I think they're pretty good. I think they're pretty good because if we can get to above, let's say 18.5, then I think they're very good. Look, it's very easy to impose a minimum basic income. You just print money. Well, but they're not going to want to do that. They're going to want to tax people that are productive. And by taxing people that are productive, it makes people not want to be productive. All right, guys, I got to get going. I want to move on with my day. Thank you all for watching. And I will be seeing you all on the next one. The sales for MRI are still on. Trying to enjoy Singapore through pictures. We're going to tweet out more of these graphics. And look, pay attention to what's going on especially with the Corona stuff. Like anytime you have friends that are trying to virtue signal that they're better than you because they want to keep you in your basement and not let you breathe, be ready with some, right things to say. Follow Jeffrey Tucker on Twitter. I don't agree with him when it comes to crypto at all. I disagree with him on pretty much everything in crypto, but he's been doing a great job on COVID. And Tom Woods, follow him on Twitter as well. Great resource to learn what's going on with the COVID insanity. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all probably Monday. I don't think I'll do one tomorrow. Bye, guys. I'm going to watch some football. I'm watching sports again. There's nothing better to do. Bye, guys. I'd watch college football, but my team sucks. Florida State has gone from winning the national title this decade to being the worst team in college football. I don't know how that's possible, but they pulled it off. All right, guys. Talk to you all later.